Hello again. Today I want to address something which I think is a prevailing trend in particularly audiophile vinyl collecting, and that is that sound quality seems to be associated with price. Now, to a degree, there is some truth to that, but I just wanted to go through a few reissues, not actually just reissues, some originals too, where that rule does not apply. And I think this rule doesn't apply quite as much as some labels would like us to believe. I know you've got One Steps from MoFi and the UHQRs from Acoustic Sounds, Craft with their small batch, Electric Recording Company with their even smaller batch. And I think there is merit in those companies going the extra mile to get you the best possible sound quality for an album or a release that perhaps you can't even get an original of anymore or isn't in print. But in a lot of cases, I think you're only really going to notice the difference if you're running a top quality turntable with a really good hi-fi setup, and I think most people are not. I mean, I consider myself to be an audiophile would be pushing it, but I do care about sound quality, and I run a Technics SL7 with a very, very classy little glass ship on top of it. That is actually there just to keep the lid down, because the SL7 has these little catches here which can easily break off, and when I bought it, guess what happened? They did. So this actually is a very cheap option and does the trick perfectly. But that SL7 is not an expensive turntable on the second-hand market. It sounds fantastic. In fact, if you're looking for a turntable, I would highly recommend you seek one of these out. If you don't want to spend more than a couple of £100 or a couple of €100, you could do a lot worse than one of these. Finding a really good P-mount cartridge is a bit of an issue, but it's a great turntable. Anyway, I digress. I really don't think a lot of the time sound quality is in proportion to price. I guess it probably follows hi-fi, and there's a law of diminishing returns. But I just want to start off here with the Trio by Oscar Peterson. It's a live recording. This is I got this version here only a couple of years back. That's a Wax Time reissue. That's the original, which my dad had actually, and it's still in great nick. And you can pick those up. Those originals you can pick up on the second-hand market. If you can find one in good condition, that'll cost you about £10. This reissue costs about 20. Wax Time records I would avoid anyway. This reissue doesn't sound anywhere near as good as the original. The original is fantastic. As you know, Craft have been bringing out some Chet Baker recordings, and this, I have to say, is very good. But if you can't get hold of this, and I'm not sure just how limited that run is, Doxy, a label which isn't renowned for sound quality, but that Doxy version I think is a digitally sourced file, and it sounds really good. I bought that because it was about 10 or 15 quid in the shop, and it does actually sound really good. You'd never know you were listening to a digital file. Even better sounding, also on Doxy, is Miles Davis's Sketches of Spain. Now that's on 45 RPM. I think that's a digitally sourced mastering as well, but I tell you what, it sounds fantastic. It really does. In France, Pathé did in the 80s did a number of re-releases of Blue Note titles under the Cadre Rouge label. These can be bought for anywhere between $25 to $40 on eBay or even Discogs, and I got Joyride by Stanley Turrentine, which is actually fantastic. The Sidewinder, and also, if I can get it out, Midnight Blue. Now these were my first forays into jazz, particularly Blue Note recordings. And although they are digitally sourced, because we are talking the 80s, they still sound really, really good. So if I know Blue Note are currently, I have been re-releasing some A-list titles under the classic reissue, the classic series. If you can get those, I'd recommend it. I think they do sound better, but these do sound really good. And they're not going up in price. You can pick these up for anywhere between $25 and $40. Mingasar as you know, was released as a one-step by MoFi recently. I'm not going to shell out $245 for it. That's just too much for a record, no matter how good it sounds. But this is the Sony Legacy version. This you can pick up for between $30 and $40. It sounds really good, really good. I lost myself in this album when I got it. I thought it was fantastic. I actually thought this was probably the best sounding version you could get. It was that good. Shows how much I know, but you know, like $30 to $40 for that version compared to $200 more for the one step, which, you know, like running a Riga Planer 2 or a Project turntable or an old Torrens, are you really, really going to get the full benefit of that $245? No, I'm not confident you are, unless you're running a really good cartridge, unless it's all been tweaked and fine-tuned to get the best sound possible out of your system. I'm not sure that it would sound $200 better. But, you know, 'tis the law of diminishing returns. You pay your money. You know what they say. If you've got the money to go for the one step, fair play to you, but I reckon that's a worthy alternative. I think the best bargain of the lot though is this. This is on the Back to Black label. It's The Cat by Jimmy Smith. And that is as good a recording as I have, believe it or not. And you can pick that up for €15 on Discogs. It is so good. It's Technicolor. That's how I describe it. And it's big band. Jimmy Smith, backed by a big band. It's arranged and conducted by Lalo Schifrin. I think it was actually I don't know. I don't know if it was analog sourced or digital sourced. I don't know. It was mastered at Abbey Road. That doesn't fill me with a huge amount of confidence normally, but I have to tell you that that is a fantastic sounding album. Fantastic sounding. And I've got Analog Productions, I've got some Music Matters, I've got Tone Poets. That is right up there with all of them. I'm not joking. It's fantastic. And lastly, John Coltrane's My Favourite Things on Rhino. You can pick that up now for €20 on Discogs. That sounds really good too. I think that is analog sourced. I think they sourced it from the analog tapes. That's a really good sounding album. It's probably my favourite Coltrane album. And like, it just goes to show you, you don't need to spend big bucks to get really decent quality sound. And there just seems to be this trend, I think, where, you know, you get these small batches, 300, such a stupid volume for a reissue, you know, and they're commanding high prices. The flippers get half of them, and then, you know, flip them on Discogs for 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 times what they originally went for because of the demand, because the volume was so low. To me, that is no way to support the vinyl community. You know, there are certain titles that need to be in print. I know, and I might sound a bit like Michael, owner of the In Groove over in Phoenix, Arizona. I watch his channel a lot, and he says that, and I completely 100% agree with him. There are certain titles that need to be in print, and you shouldn't have to spend $200-300 or euros to get a copy of, you know, of that album that sounds half decent. It shouldn't be that way. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the issue. Hope you enjoyed watching this. Thanks for watching.